Truth Unveiled here, and today I have some important information to share with you. We're going to be talking about Twitter and their recent change and how this relates to the 400 years, as well as some prophetic things that are taking place and are about to take place in the world around you, and also keeping you updated with the world around you. There have been several things that have been going on, so I just want to catch everyone up. Now, in case you don't already know, Twitter recently announced that they're changing their logo from the bird that you see over here to this symbol right here, to the X. X marks the spot. Now, if you've been following this channel over the years, then you would know how significant this number is, 400, and how we've talked about it numerous occasions, and how it relates to scriptural prophecy as spoken of in Brashyth, Genesis chapter 15, verses 13 through 14, as well as Acts chapter 7, verses 6 through 7, and even Jubilees chapter 14, verses 13 through 14 as well, that relates and talks about and concerns 400 years when Yahuwah gave that prophecy to Abraham or to Abraham about his people, his seed, being enslaved in a nation for 400 years. Now, we've talked about how that nation today is in fact America. We've also gone over extensively about the 400 years come 2019, and now we're talking about it again because, folks, as we see and as we get closer to the fall appointed times and closer to the eclipse, you're going to see just how all of this is very important indeed. Now, for those of you who don't already know this, you might be wondering, well, with the Twitter recent logo change with the X marks the spot, how does that relate to number 400, and how does that relate to the 400 years at all? Well, when you take a look at the actual scriptural Yahudyth language, or the Paleo Hebrew as it's commonly known today, so the letters right here, I have this chart right here. If you would like to take a look at it, you can pause it so that you can learn it on your own time. But what you will see is that out of the 22 letters, the very last letter of the alphabet, which is this one, commonly known as the Tav or the Thoo, you will see that it's actually what? It looks like an X, and it means mark, sign, covenant. Now, is it a surprise or a coincidence that all of a sudden Twitter decided to change their logo to this X right here? X marks the spot. Very interesting and suspicious indeed. Again, note the timing of all of this and pay attention to what's really going on around you. Not only that, but as we also talked about on this network, we talked about the eclipses that will be occurring. We've already gone over the first one extensively that occurred in 2017. However, there will be a second one that will occur over America in April of 2024, so-called, that will mark that X. Once again, there's that X again that we see. And again, it just so happens that they will be crossing around southern Illinois. And we've talked about extensively on this network how they cross in the area known as Little Egypt. Very interesting and suspicious indeed. So once again, this is the Tav or the Thoo. 400 years. Twitter putting it in front of everyone's faces. Are we in that prophetic time? Could we be in that prophetic 400 years around this time? And we've also talked about on this network, and I will be sure to share the video on here as well, about what? How it's been 2,000 years since the real Messiah YAHUSHA, since his death, burial, and resurrection, how it's been 2,000 years fully as of next year, how we're in the 2000th year as of right now. And if you would like to learn more about that and how we get to those dates and how we draw those conclusions, you can take a look at the video extensively for more. We will not have time to go over it in this video, but isn't it interesting how we're starting to see all of these different shifts, all of these patterns, all of these different weather patterns as well? Not only that, but we're seeing inflation, so we see what time it really is. Now, recently, there were the supposed wildfires that occurred in Maui, Hawaii, that have been really taking storm in this area, in the Hawaii region. But the reason I say supposed is because, remember, folks, we did a video a long time ago about the California supposed wildfires. Now, could it actually be the result of wildfires, or could it be the result of microwave nanotechnology? That is for you to decide. But again, folks, as we've talked about on this network before, problem, reaction, solution, it is all a test to get ready and get people conditioned for the new world order once it finally gets here. if it's not already here, because we've also done a video on the number 23, and we've talked about this number extensively on this network and how it can relate to 2023. And if Yahuwah wills, we're going to be talking more about that as we get closer to September of 2023, and as September 23rd gets even closer, because as we talked about on this network about the 923 symbolism, it's just something to really pay attention to, folks. And it's just interesting how in the news recently, as you can see right here, X-23, I want to say that's one of the superheroes in the Marvel series, in the Marvel franchises. It's something that they've been talking about extensively recently. Now, again, I don't know too much about Marvel. The reason that I'm here is because, folks, you need to pay attention to the symbolism. X-23, 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 again, X400 and the number 23. If you would like to learn more about the number 23 to get caught up on what we're talking about, you can definitely take a look at the video. It will be linked just so that you can see it on your own time, where we go more over that extensively. But again, 400 in 2023, could they be telling us, and could this be a symbol that what? That we're almost at the completion of the 400 years of captivity fully. Could this be a sign of that? Could this be symbolic of that? It's important to really pay attention to the world around us. Another thing I also found interesting was this right here was Saw 10. And so there's supposed to be another Saw movie that will be coming out. But notice once again, there's that X right there. There's that X symbolism, X400. And notice when it's supposed to be coming out in theaters on September 29th. That's a very interesting day. And you want to know why? Because in our appointed times calendar for this year, for the appointed times of 2023, September 29th, 2023 just so happens to be the same day as the day that we're going to be observing Yom Kippurium, commonly known as the Day of Atonement, arguably one of the most important days for Yasharal. And we've done a video a long time ago on one of the old channels about how that day is so important and how it could relate to what? The year of Jubilee, the day that Yasharal is to be free and released from our enemies and back to our homeland. And you can read more about that in Leviticus chapter 25 when it comes to the year of Jubilee and what is supposed to occur and take place on the Day of Atonement, and how everyone is supposed to go back to their original possessions. You can read more about that in that verse as well. So again, folks, could this be the day? Could this year's Day of Atonement be the day? Or will it be next year or the year after? I don't know. I'm not trying to place any dates on anything. However, it's important that you stay updated with these things so that you can see the world around you and wake up to the world around you and seek Yahuwah and his true son Yahusha if you already have not. But this is Truth Unveiled here as always, saying shalom.